here's Chris Maher, host of FFM93 Live.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 3 of FFM93 Live, and lots to talk about today. I'm not going to waste any time. There are many things that we got to get into today. Couple of things, excuse me, hit the mic there. Couple of things with the Flyers. We also have our first guest, Brian McGonigal, RA from Spittin Chiclets, will be joining me at 1:30. Yeah, this is going to be a great show. There's a lot of things that again to talk about, and obviously the Flyers get torts, and yeah, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get into a couple calls now, and then we'll break some stuff down.
Hey, Chris, it's Lou. I'm just calling in, see what your opinion is on the new Flyers coaching search. I definitely feel a player or a coach like John Tortorella is going to be more beneficial to this team than somebody like a Barry Trotz or any of these other guys that are out there right now. They need some discipline, and more importantly, I think Tortorella can deal with the Philadelphia media better than any other coaches out there right now. What's your opinion on that? And also, what do you think the likelihood of Claude Giroux getting signed and coming back to Philadelphia is? All right, man. Good luck. Hope everything goes well. Give me a call if you have any questions. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lou, for the call. Yeah, so I really do like Torts, and I like the way that he's going to attack the media. And again, I don't think the media are there's any bad people. I don't think there's anything like that. I think a lot of the media is similar across throughout the NHL. It's a lot of just just bad questions at bad times, things like that. I don't necessarily think anybody specifically does anything wrong on the Flyers side of things, but I do think Torts is the right guy, excuse me, that can kind of help out in that area and things like that. As for Giroux, I don't see him coming back. If I'm being honest with you, I mean, why would he? I don't really see any sort of. There's really nothing in my mind that leads me to believe that Giroux would be coming back here, but that's just me. Let's go into the next caller.
Hi, Chris. This is Judy and Bill. We're scared about Tortorella. I think he's a quick fix, but for the long run for the team, I think he's a bad idea. I hope it's not him. Thanks for what you do, Chris.
Thank you, Judy and Bill, for the call. I do appreciate it. I don't know if you are still watching this because some of these calls are a little bit older, kind of from the first week as well. But again, thank you, Judy and Bill, for the call. Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's perfectly, fair to be kind of scared of Torts, and I think it's fair to be kind of worried about what's going to happen with this Flyers team come, training camp and then going into October. I mean, nobody really knows right now. It's very tough with everything that's been going on. I think that there's some things too that people are a little concerned about is what are the Flyers going to do with their cap space? People might see Torts as that kind of quick fix. And look, I completely understand, what these people are kind of thinking. But, if I'm being honest, I personally feel like it's going to be a little bit easier for them to kind of get through that, because I feel like even if the Flyers aren't necessarily, winning, I think the losing might be a little bit easier because they're at least have an effort, where last year you saw a lot of those different things where it was just everything was just jumbled into one type of play. Yeah, again, still getting some people in here. We got 7 people in here right now. Jeffrey, again, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. Fan of 28, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, I mean, look, I do like a lot of what Torts can kind of bring, but we'll see. Let's get to the next caller here.
Hey, Chris, it's Jason. Just saw the news about the Barry Trotz rejecting that, we'll just say, big contract. Why do you think he did that, and what are your thoughts? And yeah.
Look, Jace, what's up, man? Thanks for calling in. Look, I genuinely think Trotz to me, I think, was more of just I think he wanted the management role, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's kind of tough to kind of have a guy, right, where Trotz, I feel like he's kind of at the point of his career where like he's coached for a really long time. I kind of feel like if it's for a management type role, and that's honestly what I believe Trotz wants, is a management type role. If he were to go into that said role, I think he probably wants that in a team where he at least kind of knows what's kind of happening with the management, or at least has an idea of what's going to be happening in a couple of years. And there was that tweet that he did buy a house in the Nashville area. So that would make sense if he were to do that. Obviously, coaching there for so long. So look, I think to me, it didn't matter how much money the Flyers were going to pay him. I don't know if the $7 million is true or not. I can believe it though. It's definitely not something where I'm like, yeah, no way. I definitely do believe that for sure. Like again, I definitely just feel like it was more of a management type thing from Trotz. So let's get into the next caller here.
Hey, Chris, this is Mike from North Central Pennsylvania. Hope you're doing well. Chris, I know there's been a lot of folks who weren't overly excited about Torts, but if you ask me, this team has had a huge accountability problem that's plagued them for years and led to a lot of the inconsistency. It seems that the previous coaching staffs haven't quite been able to figure it out and keep the team moving in the right direction for more than 10, 15, 20 games at a time. So looking forward to having Torts on board. Quick question. Wondering if you see G's departure and a vacant captaincy as an advantage as Torts is coming in, certainly with the need for a culture change. Not suggesting that G, didn't give it his all at times, but really wondering what your thinking is around, that captain position being empty and Torts' ability to really put his stamp on the team, not only with the system, but with the leadership group. Thanks.
Yeah. So again, thank you for the call. Again, thanks, Mike. I genuinely see the accountability thing as more of a. Let me think. I'm still getting calls in here. It's crazy because sometimes when I get the calls, it kind of stops the voicemail from playing. So that's why there was the pause. So I apologize about that. But again, like I look at the accountability as that's one of the main things that Torts is going to bring to this team. Amadeo with a good point here. Elliot Freeman says Andrew Burnett could possibly be an assistant coach choice. Could you clarify that, Amadeo? Is that for Philly, you mean, or is that just in general? And obviously, Ryan with the Luke Richardson is going, yes, that was one guy I definitely had wanted. Adam Foote is another one that I hope the Flyers at least try to talk to for the penalty kill. I think that would be perfect. I don't know if that is something that, Chuck and Torts have talked about, but again, I think going back to accountability and kind of what Mike was talking about there with, oh, he did say Philly is one of the teams. Okay, so that's good to know. So look, I think accountability is going to be huge. I mean, it's something that this Flyers team has not had for the past 2 seasons. It is something that, I kind of feel like it's kind of gone away a little bit. And I feel like, if I'm being honest with you, they need more of that. And they need more of that kind of gritty style, that guy that's going to get everything out of it. And Torts will do that. He definitely will do that. James does not agree. Torts is going to be a train wreck. So look, I think there's going to be people on both sides of this. I am willing to give Torts a chance. I said this last episode as well. Ryan, I do agree though here on Burnett. I think that would be perfect as well. I would assume that's probably in the latest 32 Thoughts, or maybe in one of the articles. But let's get into the next caller here.
This is Jeffrey from Denver. I wanted to know what you think our new coach, Tortorella, will do about the goalie situation with the Flyers. And good luck with your show. This is my first time listening.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate it. So as for, just Tortorella in the goalie situation. I think it's going to be more of a camp kind of thing. The Flyers did announce the other day that they re-signed Felix Sandstrom. I'll be talking about that in a minute. So so again, you're going to have that kind of battle in camp with him and Fedotov, and obviously Carter Hart. I mean, I think Torts knows that they have to get better in front of Carter Hart, and I think that is the biggest thing. Amadeo also mentions here one of his latest 32 thoughts. So yeah, I mean, that's again that was what I thought as well. I genuinely do think it could be a possibility. Obviously, the power play is an area that needs to get better. I'm hoping it doesn't, transfer over from the Panthers power play in the playoffs when coming here. But look, I do think a lot of what the management and things like that in general, right? I think a lot of that is going to be trying to find the right guy, trying to find the right coaches. And I do think, having accountability, like back on Mike's question, and also with Jeffrey, is it being better in front of your goaltender. I think those are two main things that the Flyers are going to have to do. And I think their system would be better in front of Hart. And I think if they play better, a more defensive style, and they, again, going back to what Nick Schultz had said on episode 2, it's not just, how you play, it's how you play without the puck. And it's being able to kind of bunker down and be able to buy into the right system. So there's that as well. But let's get into the next caller here.
Hey, Chris, what's going on? This is Jamie Basco. Aloha. I just wanted to say aloha. The weather is beautiful out today. I just wanted to say, if you had the opportunity to ask John Tortorella one question, what would it be? Again, great job. Keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Jamie, for calling in. Yeah, look, if I had to ask Torts something, I'm really not sure, if I'm being honest with you. I think it honestly would depend on what's going on at the time and the situation. I think I try to be more on like the personal side though, but that's probably about it. Let's get into the next caller here.
It's all Tortorella all the time. But I got to admit, Chris, after his press conference last week, I don't think I've ever seen you that happy before. Did I hear you correctly that you said you would run 5 miles for that man? If so, I want film footage. I want documentation. I, as you know, wanted Tortorella from the jump. I think he's the perfect guy for the job. I mean, he mentioned in his press conference multiple times the crest, and the Flyers as an organization have been a dumpster fire, a disaster for the last few years. I mean, you need somebody who's going to do more than a couple cosmetic changes. We need all the deck chairs turned over. We need this thing ripped apart. And if there's casualties as far as the players go, if they can't adapt to this guy's style, then there's the door. Don't let it hit you in the butt on the way out. I think in a couple years, yes, it's going to take some time, but I have confidence that Tortorella is going to put a respectable product on the ice, and in not as long of a time as some people might think.
Sean, the man, the myth, the legend, thank you for calling in. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, look, I don't have any documentation of me running. I did go out and I did actually go out after that press conference. I wasn't joking. Some people were on the Instagram live that I did as I was just sweating my ass off over at the hockey rink around the corner. But again, I genuinely think that, there is more of a accountability. And Sean, I agree with you. I do think he's going to make this a little bit quicker than usual. And I think it's going to be a lot different, than kind of what we expected. And I think it might be a little bit quicker. I'm not too sure though, but look, some news from the Flyers. in some recent days, right? So I just mentioned they re-signed Felix Sandstrom. So this is the official press release from the Flyers. The Philadelphia Flyers announced today they have re-signed goaltender Felix Sandstrom to a 2-year, two-way/one-way contract worth an average annual value AAV of $775,000, according to President of Hockey Operations and General Manager Chuck Fletcher. So Sandstrom, as most people remember, he played 5 games last year, had his debut on December 30th against San Jose, made like 43 saves, stood on his head. The Flyers ended up losing that game in overtime in the remaining minute. And then came in towards the end of the year when Carter Hart was a little bit banged up, actually played really well. Felt like every single game that Sandstrom was honestly playing last year, he was kind of held out to dry. It felt like the goals he was giving up were, the Flyers kind of letting guys shoot. Prime example, if you go back and I believe it's April 13th against the Rangers, and Capo Caco opened the scoring, and he's wide open in the slot. I'm sitting next to Russ Cohen for Sportsology, and he does Sirius XM. Russ is great. Please follow him if you don't. But he said, and I looked at him, I was like, they gave him way too much room. He was like, I know. And Sandstrom just didn't have a chance. And I felt like that was kind of a lot of what the Flyers were kind of doing with Sandstrom, is they weren't really giving much of a chance. He had one day a game, and it was against Winnipeg. He gave up a couple goals that he could have given up. But again, I genuinely do feel like Sandstrom is one of them guys that I honestly didn't think Sandstrom was going to resign. I thought he honestly played well, that he might have been able to test the market a little bit. I don't know. I was kind of thinking maybe he could have, went to maybe a team like Arizona, maybe been back up there or something like that. But again, I wasn't really too sure, but again, the Flyers sign him. I think it's a good deal. And this is an important thing. This is a tweet from Bill Meltzer from yesterday around noon. He said the Flyers have preempted Felix Sandstrom's UFA status with a 2-year, two-way/one-way contract with NHL 775,000, like I just mentioned. And Bill basically explains it in English terms. In other words, in year 2, Sandstrom will make the NHL rate regardless of whether he plays in Philly or Lehigh Valley. So he's still going to make that NHL rate. He's not going to make anything less, anything more. So it's so good that he's at least going to get that. And again, look, I genuinely feel like Sandstrom could be the backup if he outbids Fedotov. And I think I feel like it's going to be more of a camp battle now. And, we already know who the number 1 is. I think the biggest thing is trying to find out who number 2 is. And we'll see how training camp goes. I thought, Sandstrom had a really good end of the year. He played well. As for numbers, if you're into that kind of thing, he went 0-4-1. He had a 3.23 goals against average and a 9.10 save percentage, 0-4-1 record. And he made 30 or more saves in 4 of his 5 starts. So that kind of shows you, A, how good he was, and B, how bad the Flyers were defensively in front of him, because he was seeing so much rubber that he was, it felt like at times he was kind of forced to make some saves that he probably shouldn't have to make. But again, look, I thought they played better in front of him towards the end of the year. You saw some of their best kind of hockey towards the end of the year in front of Sandstrom. But again, it was good that the Flyers signed him. I'm very glad that they signed him. Amadeo with a good question here. Would you try and trade for DeBrincat? Look, I've seen this a lot, and I've seen this whole kind of DeBrincat thing and going out for these guys. Look, I'm not denying the Flyers are going to have to try and make a move, right? They're going to have to go out, sign one of the big free agents. They're definitely going to have to try to make a move. I think there's different things that they're going to have to do just to relieve some money to go out and get these guys, right? But I genuinely do think that if I'm being honest with you, I don't know, because my thing is, why would Chicago want to move him? That's kind of why, like, I don't know if they're going to move him. And I think it's going to cost you a lot. Like, I've seen like Farabee, and I'm like, no, I'm not giving up Farabee. If it's for the first round pick, maybe, I don't know. I kind of feel like the management's been like, all right, we have a, Flair and Fletcher and all these guys, right? I think they kind of feel like if they have this pick and they have this kind of opportunity to take a player that high, I think they might want to draft. So that's kind of how I look at it as well. Robert here, they have to get Gaudreau. Yes, they do. I do agree. It would be nice if they were. There's a huge, there's a whole just straight up conversation in the comments here about who should be captain. My beautiful mother coming in. Who do you think Torts will want as captain of the team given the current roster? So Torts did say that essentially that the captain isn't going to be named until after camp, and that it's also going to be his last coaching job as well. So that also leads me to believe that it's most likely going to be he's going to put all of his eggs in the basket at one time to try to get this ship turned around. A couple minutes here, we got RA coming on from Spittin Chiclets, so stay tuned for that as well. But again, back to what I was saying. Look, I think a lot of what this is going to be is trying to figure out who can be the leader, who can be the guy that steps up, and I think that they're going to want to. Especially Torts, I think he's going to want to meet everybody. I think he's going to want to try to figure out. I think a lot of this is going to be trying to find the right guy to fit the right mold to kind of build that right identity. I personally feel like Couturier is a guy, and I want to bring up a call here that I got from my dad actually about this. So I'm going to play this now, and then I'll talk about it.
What's up, bud? It's your old dad. I got a question, a comment. Everybody's talking that Coots should be the next captain of the team. I'm a little concerned with that. I know last year he played, 30 games maybe? The year before, what did he play, 40, 45? You need to have a guy as a captain who's going to be out there on the ice with the team.
So, look, I genuinely feel like Coots looks that I understand what you're saying. And I genuinely feel like my thing with Coots is this, right? I understand the argument of it being, he doesn't necessarily play that much and this and that. I'm just going to break down a couple stats. Coots last year played 29 games, okay, out of a possible 82. The year before was a 56 game season. He played 45. So that's pretty much like him playing, 68, 69 games in an 82 years. So not really missing much. So he pretty much played a full season. It's not like he was really injured for that long. Outside of 2017-18, where he was injured for a good amount of time, that was really it. And in recent years, he's played 306 of a possible, I believe, 371 games. And that's a good amount of games to play. I'm not concerned about Couturier. I think he's going to be fine. I do think, I don't want to just be like, okay, yeah, Coots is the captain. Because I feel like they could honestly kind of look at it in a different way. Like, who can be that guy in camp and all this different stuff. I'm really curious to see how Ellis kind of plays out in this situation. Everybody's kind of rolled him out. Like he didn't play last year, so he can't be captain. Like I kind of look at it like, and again, I'm not just saying give Ellis captain. I'm saying like genuinely give them camp and give these guys some time to kind of mesh with the new coach and all of this different stuff. Jeffrey, kind of going back to what you were saying here, who would you want out of the UFA to join the Flyers? Look, I think UFA, I think there's a lot of guys. I think Johnny Gaudreau is one of the big names. I absolutely would love Johnny G. I think he would be perfect here. I think there's a lot of different guys. Look, I feel like if the Flyers can at least go out, I don't necessarily really want anybody specific. If they can go out and get a high-end center, and a pretty good, like a scoring winger would be nice for the bottom six, I think, because I think if you kind of go out and get free agency, again, if you go the free agent route, you kind of get the high end guy, maybe get another low end guy, probably where they might be able to get another defenseman. I think they at least need one more D man. So that's kind of how I look at that as well. James, thanks so much, man. Have a good one. Again, I appreciate the comment there. The defense was terrible, Jeffrey. I 100% agree. The defense was absolutely brutal. There were a lot of different things that kind of went on. But another thing I did want to talk about as well is the NHL Awards that came out the other night. So we have, look, to me, the awards, everybody's going to complain about these different things, right? So you have Matthews winning the Hart Trophy, Igor Shesterkin getting the Vezina, Moritz Seider with the Calder, Matthews winning the Ted Lindsay, Kel McCarr gets the Norris, the Art Ross goes to Connor McDavid for most points, Rocket Richard obviously goes to Matthews, Selke to Bergeron, Masterton to Carey Price, the Lady Bing to Kyle Connor, the William N. Jennings Trophy goes to Frederick Anderson and Antti Ranta. King Clancy goes to PK Subban, Jack Adams goes to Daryl Sutter, and the Mark Mercier NHL Leadership Award goes to Jose Kopitar. So, look, I genuinely feel like a lot of these awards are pretty much, I'm fine with it. I think Shesterkin deserved the Vezina. McCarr with the Norris is perfectly fine with me. He's been unbelievable throughout the entire year. I've said it before, and I agree with Jeff Marek. He said this on 32 Thoughts. That's the best defensive pairing in the league, McCarr and Devon Toews, 100%. To me, there's no other pair that is better. I genuinely feel like a lot of it is, it's not even just like the Avs. Like, again, the Cup is in the building tonight, Game 5. The Avs are rolling, and that goal that was scored the other night from Kadri, man, like that was crazy. And I know everybody talked about the too many men on the ice when Tampa had, I mean, if you go back and watch it, Tampa did the same thing. And the guy, and I believe it was McKinnon at the bench, he didn't affect the play. It's not like, it went off a skate or something went in. Like, he wasn't even in the zone. So I don't even look at it as like, oh, it's them cheating or whatever. But I think it's a lot for people to just harp on Cooper. Like, and he said it best. And Amadeo, I agree 100%. There was. And, again, like I think a lot of it's hard for Cooper to come off the ice, right, and just talk to the media right away. I mean, he's very emotional. They just that goal is the goal that is down, puts them down 3-1 in the Stanley Cup final when they're about to go for a three-peat. I mean, that's hard to do. So I can't really sit here and be like, oh, Cooper's this, Cooper's that. Like I don't really have I have nothing against John Cooper for that. I think it's perfectly okay. What ex-Flyers are carrying the cup tonight? If Aube-Kubel, if he dresses, and I would think he might, I'm not sure. I know the whole thing with the Cogliano injury as well. It would be an AK. Kind of hope Tampa forces Game 6. Want the series to go longer. I agree. I definitely would like to see another game just so we get more hockey, if I'm being honest with you, because this is like the best. This is the best type of hockey possible that we could get, and I think a lot of the games have been good. I think the goaltending has been pretty good. There's been so many crazy moments these playoffs, and you get that goal from Kadri the other night, and Jeff Marek compared it to Kane in 2010. I'm like, out of all things that you compare it to, he compares it to Kane in 2010, of course. But look, I think a lot of what these playoffs have been, right? It's been a lot of it's been a lot to me. It's just crazy moments that are filled with like really good. Like I look at the playoffs as this is one of the best playoffs in recent years. Again, we got a couple more minutes in here until RA Brian McGonigal from Spittin Chiclets joins us. But again, like back to what I was saying, like the playoffs have been so fun. They've been so electric from the goals alone. There's been so many good goals, a lot of good saves. I feel like a lot of what the playoffs is kind of, everybody's like, oh, well, the Flyers need to get to that. And I agree. I think there is a certain element to what the Flyers need to get to. And I think there's been some really good teams that surprise people, like the Rangers, for example. But again, it's hard for me to count out Tampa Bay. And it's hard for me to look at Colorado and just kind of be like, I just can't look at the Avs tonight and be like, you're losing tonight, but I can't look at Tampa and be like, you're losing. Like, I have no idea. Like, I didn't, and I don't want to make it like, oh, I just hope both teams have fun. Like, I genuinely feel like this is a really tight series, and I have absolutely no idea who to pick right now for tonight's game. I mean, it's so tough. I just want that atmosphere back in Philly with every team, dude. I 100% agree. Would be awesome. Yes, that Kane goal still hurts. I wasn't a fan then, but I mean, again, watching it and just seeing everybody, it's just like, what the hell? Our assistants, look, I have no idea, man. I think there's a lot of different guys that they could go for. I think it might be I don't know if it would be a longer process, but I would like to think that they have at least one or two of the guys maybe before the draft, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not too sure. Do you think Chuck may target guys that have played towards like he did with all the Rangers? Nick Foligno, Donley, Riley Nash. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily. I feel like a lot of this is going to be Chuck and towards kind of building the roster. It seems like there's been Okay, so we just got an update here from the Flyers. Injury update. Flyers forward Joel Farabee underwent successful disc replacement surgery in his cervical region this morning, Friday, June 24th. The surgery was performed by Dr. John Yoon, a neurosurgeon at Penn Medicine. He's expected to make a full recovery in 3 to 4 months. So it looks like Farabee will be out. I don't know if it would be that. What's that? 3 to 4 months. Today's June. He should be ready to go for the beginning of the year. Wow, that's unfortunate because I know obviously Farabee was playing hurt too. So that's really unfortunate to kind of hear that. Again, 3 to 4 months should be a full recovery soon. Again, I really hope that he's going to be okay. But wow, that's tough because you just don't want to go into a season with a guy like that's coming off of a surgery. So obviously it's unfortunate, with Farabee because he's one of the better young guys on the team. Wow, that really kind of just threw me off my whole rhythm. 3 to 4 months full recovery. Look, I think he'll end up being okay. We'll see. I don't necessarily want to. Shoulder surgery, 3 to 4 months. Yep, just talked about that, Paul. Wow, that's unfortunate news because Farabee, look, he wasn't having the greatest end of the year, but he is one of the guys that genuinely you want to see get better. But let's bring in RA from Spittin Chiclets. What's up, RA? How you doing, man?
What's up? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's things?
Everybody. So this is Brian McGonigal, as everybody knows, as RA from Spittin Chiclets, writer for Barstool Sports, and also, the 1/4, 1/5 of Spittin Chiclets. RA, how you doing? Thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, pal. Sorry, I had a rain check last week, but little travel, but the year's coming to an end. We'll be getting a little breather soon, but hopefully we've got a couple more Stanley Cup games. I'm hoping Tampa wins just so we get an extended series, man. I don't want a 5-game series. Season's been too good.
I hear you. And I look, I actually was just talking about it right before he came on, and I'm kind of at the point now where I just want more hockey. Just so we get more hockey, you know what I mean? We got the draft in a couple weeks, and free agency is 5 days after. So I kind of look at it like more hockey is more hockey. Look, RA, you've done a lot recently. Obviously, Shoresy has been huge on Hulu. Everybody has loved that. How did you kind of get into that? How did that start? How did Hulu come to you for that?
Well, it was actually the Shoresy people did, they obviously are on Hulu and they're on Crave up in Canada, so I just get some on my screen. They had reached out to either Grinelli or somebody with Barstool about some sort of collaboration, even when Letterkenny was on, before Shoresy came up. And, we were just kind of shooting the breeze, our producer was talking to somebody with with the Letterkenny camp, and then the idea got brought up about having me on the show at some point, and I was like, yeah, I'm a ham and egger. I was in the town. We always play that up on the show, and yeah, I mean, I never like seriously try to be an actor, but I've been an extra a few times. It's fun, so I was like, yeah, gung ho, like absolutely, let's do it. So I flew up there. Let me see, December up to Sudbury, and it was still like COVID shit.
Cold,
I mean,
yeah.
Like, yeah, I felt like I was like going into Russia in like the 80s or something before the Berlin Wall fucking fell. Sorry. So
that's all right.
Yeah, I should have asked first. So, anyways, I went up there and filmed my 2 scenes. The first, it was funny. I didn't know until I got there really that I was in the very first scene. It's season 1, episode 1, this new show, and I was like, oh, I shit my pants a little the night before. I mean, I'm not a pro actor, and you see all the trucks, and it's a big production, and
right, yeah.
Oh man, but fortunately, one of the other cast members, come down to my room when we ran lines together, and that really put me at ease. And he also said, like, Jared Keefe, so the creative genius behind Letterkenny and Shorzy, he said, he'll tell you just it doesn't have to be word for word, just make it your own words, get the same idea across, just put it in your own words. And I was like, oh, it was basically almost like improv. I got to kind of sort of write my own shit. So that was awesome, coming from a little bit of a writing background. So, I got to write some of my own lines and stuff. So it was an awesome experience. And
yeah,
I didn't know how good it was going to be. You do your thing, and you got to wait and see how it all gets put together. And when I watched it, I was like, this is really good. Like, I know a minute and I'm going to pump it up anyways, but the feedback has been tremendous. People really, really enjoy it. So thanks for bringing it up.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I loved it. As soon as it came out, I was saying to my girlfriend, I was like, you need to watch this. And she's not really into hockey. And as the year is going on, she's getting into it. And I'm saying, and she's watching it. She just doesn't understand it because she's not used to like the whole, hockey talk lingo kind of thing. Yeah. And to me, it's like, it's kind of like I kind of I put it in a different category as like Goon and other things because like those are movies, but like this is a TV show that's like different, and you have that it's creative, it's hilarious. That's one thing, and it's just funny. It's so funny, and I kind of look at it too I feel like it's one of the better hockey things. I mean, in my opinion, I think Goon is one of the better hockey movies. I know you're a huge movie guy too.
Yeah.
Honestly, Youngblood's one of my favorites. Obviously, everybody loves Mighty Ducks. But if you were to pick, do you have any favorite kind of hockey movie?
I mean, talking to an old guy like myself, you know what my answer is, right? I mean,
Miracle.
It's not a bad guess, but
Slapshot.
Yeah. Slapshot. I mean, I know obviously Miracle, great flick, but we know all of the story. But Slapshot is by far the best hockey movie out there. Yeah. I grew up with it. I'm a little older, but like it was really ahead of the curve on a lot of stuff, like as far as teams moving and budget problems and shady owners, and that was all from the minor league world back in the 70s, but it still like was relevant. That script was pretty sharp. Actually, you know who wrote the script? Obviously Ogie Oglethorpe and Slapshot.
Yeah.
His name is Ned Dowd in real life. His sister Nancy Dowd. She actually Slapshot was written by a woman, Ogie Oglethorpe's sister in real life.
Was it really?
Yeah, she was like living with him when Ned Dowd was playing in the minor leagues. She was like, going to the games and observing it. She's like, this is kind of crazy. And she wrote the script like basically from hanging out with her brother. And it was really sharp, really smart. Like it's still like relevant. Like I said, a lot of stuff is still relevant to the game. And plus it's just flat out funny. I mean, the Hansons, epic. I actually met them when I went to the Goon premiere. Funny enough, New York City, and it was like meeting like Han Solo and Luke Skywalker to me. You grow up watching Slapshot on VHS hundreds of times, and the funniest thing about it, then actually sit there and have a beer with him and shoot the shit with him. It was definitely a highlight, no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's funny too because I kind of look at like doing interviews and things like that, and having like your kind of favorite moments. If you were to pick a favorite Chiclets interview, like if you can narrow it down to maybe 1 or 3, because I know like you guys have done so many, from Gretzky to just all over the place. If you can narrow it down to at least maybe 1 or at least a top 3, where would you go? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but
it's not. It's just like you said. There's so many of them. I mean, I think for like name one. I mean, Gretzky's got to be up there. I mean, we got Wayne Gretzky.
That was a great interview.
was tough to top that. Right. He made it easy for us. I mean, great.
Yeah.
Gretzky's done a million of them, but like, you didn't know what to expect. I mean, we'd never interviewed him before, but he made it easy for us. Like, I still had 25 more questions we could have asked. He was awesome. Cam Neely was my favorite player growing up. So getting him, like, I reached out to someone and we were able to get him. He's not a media guy. He doesn't like doing media. He's not his cup of tea, but I guess his son will listen to the show and put the bug in his ear. So that it's funny. Children of players, old players, they're kind of our best recruiters, funny enough, because they listen to the show like, hey, go on. So we've gotten a few guys like that. So Neely, probably on a personal level, because he's my favorite player, and he did open up, so he was pretty good. And Tim Stapleton, because there was
that episode's hilarious.
Probably the funniest interview we ever did. I hadn't met him before. With Biz Norman, we interviewed him in a hotel room in Chicago, and obviously we having a couple of sodas and having some laughs. But he's just a funny bastard, man. Yeah. The way he tells story. I mean, you watch the video version of it. I mean, we were falling off the couches laughing. Those are three. But you could ask me in a week, and I might,
give you something different. Yeah.
Yeah, like a guy like Shane Corson, like, he's a guy who played in the 80s and 90s that I grew up watching. He was a terrific interview. Lyle Oderline, guy basically came back from the dead. He's another one. It's just, there's a ton of them. We got, I think, 7 in the shoot right now. We actually just come back from New York. We did 2 Hall of Famers, a Conn Smythe winner, a All-Star from the 80s, and the recent Rookie of the Year winner. I'll give you a little spoiler alert. I know we haven't said it yet, but yeah, we talked to Mo Sider. What a kid is.
Really? That's awesome.
His years, like 21 years old, and like he sounds like he's a 38-year-old guy, just like wisdom beyond his years. But good stuff. Yeah, we got a lot of good shit to close out the season coming up.
That's awesome. Yeah, I again can't wait for that. Again, all of that stuff is great. So kind of just going back to like the Flyers. I know a lot of the boys like Torts coming to Philly. Do you have any thoughts on that?
They need a kick in the ass. I mean, something is amiss with that team. I mean, obviously last year, what's his name? Ellis being hurt, Coots was hurt, and obviously poor Kevin Hayes, the injury and with losing his brother. And
did so many injuries.
Yeah, I just can't imagine the having to go to work like any job, but let alone that after what he been through. And
I mean, they dressed 42 skaters last year.
Yeah, injuries, but they still, you could be hurt, but they were like lifeless out there. They
were.
They looked bad. Mike Yo, they brought him in, and there was no difference. There was no bump. Sometimes a little bit of a thing. And we talked about actually in the show this week. Like, Carter Hart's a guy who you can't blame the year on him. I watched him last year, and he just kind of hung out to dry.
Much better than the year before, I'll tell you that.
And when the team in front of you stinks and the D stinks, the goalie's going to look bad, even if goals aren't necessarily his fault. I don't think he's the problem. Hopefully his confidence didn't get too shaken last year. But yeah, Torts is a guy who's going to crack those guys into shape. And we've talked to guys on the show, and I know, Torts, guys don't like him, blah, blah. I think most guys do like him because he sort of forces you to commit. But the guys who play for him really like who was it? Nathan Gerby, Cam Atkinson. They love the guy. Like, he's a ball buster and he's a stickler, but he gets results. So Philly needed something. I mean, I don't think it's out of the realm, but they get into a playoff spot this year. Last year, people thought they were gonna. If Torts can have the desired effect, again, you get a healthy Ellis back. If turn around a little bit, I mean, as bad as they were, they still have some good pieces there. So I'm
for sure
he does.
No, for sure. I mean, look, I've kind of said it all along. Like, I feel like I think they definitely need more. I think they need another center. I think there definitely is some work to do. I'm not going to deny that, but I do think, if you get the kind of the right mix of guys, and I actually just had Nick Schultz on last week, and he was talking about, just if you have the right mix of guys and the right mix of players, a lot of that can work. And look, and again, it's kind of what you said too, like, not everybody's going to like him. Like, another guy that loved him was Michael Delzato. He raved about him. Scott Hartnell loved him as well. 2 former Flyers. Like, there are guys that like him, and there are guys that, and then there's guys that don't. I know
you're supposed to like your coach, I mean,
right.
But if you don't, whatever, you still got to go out and play.
Right, exactly. And then I would look again, like, I kind of look at it as this. It's like, just give the guy a chance. I mean, he's only been here about a week. For right now, he's been officially hired. It seemed like everybody kind of hated him right away. Literally right before it wasn't even official. It was right when Kevin Weeks put out that video, and everybody was just kind of disliking him already. But game 5 tonight, the Cup is in the building. Cup final.
But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, that's you're gonna find every idiot opinion out there. You don't have to go far. So sorry, go ahead. Game 5. I didn't mean to cut you off again.
No, you're all right. Yeah, game 5. Yeah, I mean, look, the Cup is in the building. Who do you got? And I know you talked about you know, you kind of want more hockey, but are you leaning towards Tampa tonight?
I'm such a mush central. I actually hit my first bet forever when I had game 3 over 2.5 goals. I haven't bet anything yet. I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do right now. I mean, what's the over? Is it 6?
I have no idea. I gotta look.
I'll take a quick peek while I'm talking. Elimination game, I might lean toward the under just because things kind of tend to get tightened up. Vasilevsky, he's had an off series, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That second game he was terrible, but it actually reminds me of, remember Pecorine when Nashville played Pittsburgh, great during the regular season, and he went tits up, come Stanley Cup. Let me see. Over under it's 6 right now. Under's juice is -120. Yeah, I might lean toward the under just because like I said, elimination game. I'm assuming they're gonna get Vasi's best punch tonight with them on the ropes, and Kempo was great last game. I said for the series he's a question mark because until you prove it in the playoffs, you're an unproven.
Exactly.
And it wasn't a diss against or anything. It was just like we got to see it before you can call him proven. And yeah, he was very good last game. He certainly hasn't been bad at all. Was it the game he got chased? Obviously, he wasn't good. But I think I might lean under, but I'll tweet it out later. I got to crunch a few more numbers.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, look, to me, I kind of look at it as it's so hard for me to rule out Tampa. Like I think Elliot Friedman said it best on 32 Thoughts. He was like they could be down in the series 3-0 and down 10-0 in the third, and I'd still wouldn't be able to rule them out. But again, it's just so hard for me to see them winning 3 straight with 2 of the 3 being in Colorado. Like that's just so hard for me to look at.
No, that's cliche city, but take it one game at a time. That's all. That's like, and they're a team. Obviously, Hots are champions all over that locker room, and this is it. I mean, the season's their legacy. This dynasty talk. It comes down to tonight, and they're going to try to extend it. I don't know. They're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at them. So
right, exactly.
I mean, and I don't really have rooting interest either way. Whoever wins, I know Colorado fans are being fucking crybabies on like every fan base has meatheads, Boston included. Every
meatheads.
I mean, there's no cities exempt from it, but
right.
They like crybabies. It's like I didn't even bet against the team. I like the picks we make on the show. It's like we do them for shits and giggles, and it's like,
and especially with that offside goal, or not the offside, the too many men from last game.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think there was any that happens every game.
I was just gonna say it happens every game. Yeah.
It wasn't blatant.
And honestly, if you go back and you look at it, Tampa had 7 guys. Tampa had 2 guys changing.
Yeah, it's something you could nitpick that. It's like I don't think it had really any effect on the game. And Coop said it after. He apologized the next day because he was, like I've said on the show before, some guys, you put a mic in their face right after a horrible defeat, man. Like Milan Lucic was famous for that. Like, some guys just can't dial it down right away. And how do you, they're fucking playing in the NHL. Yeah, they're still heated.
Oh, for sure. And that was something I said right in the beginning of the show, right before he came on. Like, I can't blame Cooper because his team just went down 3-1 in the Cup final, going for a 3-peat. I can't really blame him for being upset. And honestly, obviously it's a completely different situation, but a similar thing happened in Philly this year with Mike Yeo. And the Flyers actually they were up 3-2 late, blew a lead, ended up losing the game in overtime. And Yo kind of came in and he was so aggravated and just really pissed off. And he came in and he was like, it seems like some guys are going to have to get sat. Well, the Flyers didn't have any more call-ups left because they used so many call-ups this year. So he just said it because he was so upset, and then the next day apologized. So again, look, I know it's a different situation, but again, it's hard to kind of go right after an emotional loss like that and just go right and talk to the media. That's so hard to do.
That's why, I mean, I'm not one of these like, oh, they're obligated to talk to the media. It's like, you know, I was like, hey, if they talk, they talk. I've never thought it was part of their job description. I know some media think like it's part of their job, but it's like whatever. Like half the time they just give you bullshit cliches, anyways. Half the time.
No, for sure. I mean, like I've never really looked at it as anything that's just, you know, they have to do it, or if they don't want to. If they don't want to talk, they don't want to talk. I mean, example was Keith Nhl on exit day. I mean, he didn't come in, and I had no issue with that. I'm like, okay,
exactly, yeah. I was looking at your jersey, Voracek jersey behind it. I was trying.
Oh yeah, he signed that actually. I'll have to send you the tweet after.
We interviewed him.
It was like April 2020, I think it came out.
May have been, yeah. Time is like mushed together the last couple of years, but what an absolute beauty that guy is, man.
Yeah.
Like talking to him before and after the interview stuff we didn't talk about on the interview, man. He was a funny bastard.
Yeah, he's so funny, and it's funny because I actually have made a pretty good relationship with him since he got traded, and I met him a couple times, and that night. That was April 5th. That was the second time Columbus came to Philly, and I bought tickets for both. Sat in the same seat in warmups, and he came over, said hi, and again remind me after the show. I'll send you the video. He came hi and he was like, "You want me to sign the jersey?" And I didn't have anything on me. I was like, "Shit!" Like I don't have a pen. I don't have nothing. And their trainer, and I can't find the guy's name, but he's a beauty. But he had a gray Sharpie, and again I'll send you a picture when we're done. But he signed it, threw it back over, personalized it. It was one of the best games I've ever went to. And I think they lost. I think the Flyers ended up losing the game. I didn't give a shit. I was so excited about what had happened in warmups. But yeah, I mean, the amount of times I think I've listened to that Voracek interview, I might have listened to that maybe 15 times.
He's like I said, he's hilarious. But we love going down Philly, man. We always have a good time down there.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we went was like between like the COVID seasons, dude. Everything's like it's like one big mush together the last few years. We always have a blast down.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, Philly's great, and I know you guys were there for the Warriors, the Warrior Classic, and that was actually when we met.
That was actually when we met. That was the last time we were down there. Actually,
Yeah, again, and the Warriors are awesome. I mean, it's such a fun event, and the Flyers do such a good job with kind of bringing everybody together. And I know you guys got Brad Marsh after that as well. You guys got Marshy. That was great.
No, he great interview, fantastic guy too. Like just like what he does with the Warrior program, and he's just a gentleman too. It's funny, like well, you know, he used to be a pretty tough customer too, and he's such a genteel, like nice gentleman off the ice. I dare him like punching someone's head, and it's pretty funny to think about, but. Yeah, Max is a good dude. He does a great thing with those guys.
Yeah, he does. And again, like the Flyers alumni, and they also do the they have so many good events with the alumni and giving back to charity and the bikes for the kids and all of that stuff. But again, all right, we're getting closer to the end of the show. Again, thanks so much for doing this. I really do appreciate it. Again, I gladly will have you back on. Again, seriously, thank you so much.
No, my pleasure, Chris. Anytime, brother. Thanks for having me, and hit me up whenever.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother. Enjoy the game. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. RA from Spittin Chiclets. Again, that was great time. RA is fantastic. He's great to talk to. He knows. RA knows so much stuff, man. He's amazing on the show, and I personally love him on Chiclets. Yeah, look. Getting closer towards the end of the show. I'm going to take a couple more callers here, and then we're going to wrap this one up here for episode 3.
Hey, Chris. This is Joe. Wanted to get your viewpoints on Comcast's ownership of the Flyers. I know a lot of fans want them to sell the team. I want your viewpoints on it, and if you think that they should sell the team or not. Let me know. Thanks.
Yeah, so look, Comcast to me, I don't really look at Comcast as that big of an issue as everybody else. I don't think they're going to sell the team. I don't think there's any reason to sell the team. I don't think we've gotten to that point, or I don't even think we will get to that point. But yeah, I mean, I really don't look at Comcast as that much of an issue compared to everybody else.
Hi, Chris. Wanted to get your thoughts on the Wells Fargo Center renovation. I mean, for me, they go through all these renovations and it just looks horrible. I think, in my opinion, I think the whole place just looks. It's not warming. It's not that nice, to be honest with you. I think the club level they're redoing, it's going to be, the renderings look awful. It's all commercialized now, and Comcast just wants their money. And I think it shows in the stadium. The stadium's not intimidating to come into as an opposing player. The place is all about just money, and Gritty is just all about money. Gritty needs to go. The marketing concept sucks. So let me get your thoughts on that.
As for Gritty, I don't necessarily love the idea of having a mascot, if I'm being honest with you. I think a lot of what look, I think the Flyers brought in Gritty for, trying to get kids and things like that. I don't necessarily see it as too much of an issue. I think it is an issue though when he is essentially the face of your franchise, and that's pretty much what he is. I don't necessarily love the way they market the mascot. As for the renovations, I used to love the red seats going into Wells Fargo Center. And they ended up going to black, and for what I think it was for like a season, or it might have been in the summer. They had, I can't remember what it was. If the lower bowl was black seats and the top was red, or it might have been vice versa, and it might have been red on the bottom or black on the, I can't remember at the moment. I'd have to look up a picture on Google or something. But a lot of that to me was, it kind of like to me, I kind of looked at that as they're trying to bring in something new. I love the red seats. It kind of added a pop to that arena, but that was just one thing. Let's take the next caller here.
Hey, Chris, it's Sean. Congratulations on the next phase of your channel. I'm happy to say I'm a part of your meteoric rise to mediocrity, but anywho, my question is about what you think of the contribution of Ivan Fedotov for next year's team. I personally think he may play a bigger role than you might think. When you're 6'7" and you're a goalie, you should be able to stop a lot of pucks by accident. And I think once he learns the NHL game and the rink size, etc., he may push Carter Hart for playing time. Again, wanted to get your thoughts on that, and congratulations.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. So as for Fedotov, I genuinely think I feel like Fedotov's actually going to be okay. I can see him being the backup. I don't know if I kind of have to see how camp goes, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like I could be wrong. I mean, he could play more than what I'm at least expecting at the moment. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be a situation where he ends up outbidding Carter Hart or anything like that, but I do think Fedotov is going to be one of the main parts to this Flyers team.
Hello, this is Bill from Warrington. My question is, what do you think the Flyers will do in the draft this year? Do you think they'll take defense? Do you think they'll take offense? And why do you think? Thanks. Bye.
Hey, Bill. Thank you for the call. I think majority of what I feel like the draft, I think, is more going to be kind of what's available to the Flyers. I think I've mentioned this before. I kind of feel like most of the draft and just the overall way that it's going to be constructed. I don't really know. I don't necessarily think anybody really knows who's going to go number one. I don't really know if anybody knows who's going to go number two. If I'm being honest with you, everybody seems like it's either Slavkovsky, it's either Cooley, right? It could be one of the defensemen, Nemec or Jiricek. I think there's a lot of different things. If I'm the Flyers, I think I'm probably going to target defense. That's kind of my main thing. I would definitely go defense. Again, I think there are different areas that the Flyers do have to kind of attack it in different areas. I don't necessarily know if the draft would be something. Look, I think a lot of I think a lot of what the draft is going to be is going to be, you know, who kind of falls where. Look, so a lot of different things from today's show. Obviously, Farabee with the injury and the surgery is not the greatest news. And again, I'm gonna touch back on that real quick. Let me pull up the tweet again, because it really is unfortunate. Again, I'm going to read it again for anybody who missed it. Flyers forward Joel Farabee underwent successful disc replacement surgery in a cervical region this morning, Friday, June 24th. The surgery was performed by Dr. John Yoon, a neurosurgeon at Penn Medicine, expected to make a full recovery in 3 to 4 months. So it sucks. It is such a it's a really, really bad thing to kind of hear. And I hate ending the episode on that, but that is the most recent news that we have gotten. A lot of good things coming. Look, you got the draft in a couple weeks. You got free agency a couple of days later. We are getting closer and closer towards the draft and to when the events of all of this crazy offseason for the Flyers will be coming soon. Again, thank you to RA. Please, again, if you don't know who RA is, you honestly might be living under a rock, but check out Spittin Chiclets. They are one of the best hockey podcasts out there. Again, thank you guys so much here on episode 3, and I will talk to you all again next week. Stay tuned, everybody. Take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys soon.